welcome back to That's Life with John Carver. This is episode number 405, and I called this episode The Sudden Obliteration. In May 2024, I was talking with a young man, and he shared the phrase by author John Green that said, quote, the sudden obliteration of expectation. Again, the sudden obliteration of expectation. That little phrase reminded me of a subject that I've shared with thousands of people for many years. Let me share it again in a little different way. In my life, I realized when my expectations were not based in facts, I was frustrated 100% of the time when my frustrations did not become a reality. As I worked on this episode back on May 26, 2024, two of my grandchildren, ages 5 and 1 at the time, were jumping on my lap. They live with us, or they did live with us at the time, stopping me from working on this project and only allowing me to type a few words at a time for several minutes between picking them up. So you can imagine that picture. Should I expect this not to happen since I have an office in my home? Is my expectation not being able to focus on this particular project realistic based on my environment? That's probably not realistic. Most children have only two priorities, playing and eating. So I paused working on this project back in May 26, 2024, and I went and played with the kids for a little bit. So 2 hours later, I was back at my laptop. So again, the sudden obliteration of expectation is the subject of this talk today. How many expectations have you had in your life that caused you an intense amount of frustration and pain because you failed to realize at the time that your expectations were not realistic or based in facts? How many times have you maybe based your decisions on emotions instead of research or logic or wisdom? I've done it more times than I can count. Expectations tied to emotions mixed with unproven information leads to catastrophe in our lives. Let me say it again. Expectations tied to emotions mixed with unproven information leads to catastrophe in our lives. Back in 2006, we built our 7-bedroom home so each of our children could have their own bedroom. We could afford it at the time. By 2007, the housing bubble burst. Our youngest daughter, Juliana, was fighting cancer for the first time, and I was, quote, laid off from my job. Did I consider those possibilities while we thought about building a bigger home? Nope. Did my emotions at the time control my decision to build a bigger home for my kids? Yup. The sudden obliteration of expectation happens many times when what we thought was a fact turned out to be not factual. This, for me, has changed my life forever. The disappointments and frustrations and regrets of wasting decades based on an expectation that would have never happened in the first place was devastating. Let me say it again, because I think you've been there too. The disappointments and frustrations and regrets of wasting decades based on an expectations that would have never happened in the first place are devastating. Are your expectations based on verifiable facts? Have you allowed the hype of other people's emotions cloud your ability to see through manipulations of others who are trying to get you to do things for their benefit and not your benefit? The sudden obliteration of expectations happens when we get tied to an outcome that did not and could not come to pass. This happened to me in October 2016 when my youngest daughter, Juliana, died at the age of 14 while fighting cancer for the 8th time. Yes, the 8th time. The sudden obliteration of expectation happens when stuff happens that's beyond our control, and those of us who strive to have some level of control, it's life-altering. Living in a way that reduces or eliminates expectations can be freeing, but it's really difficult to reach that stage in life. My name is John Carver. Thanks for watching.